workstation costs, but we're still looking into the options, so that's gonna need to be revisited. Trustees' budget is, up by $50.
Postage?
Yeah. The assessing budget, excuse me, is up about $3,500, and part of this is, it's all in the operating portion. This is for the pickups. When people have additions or whatever to their house, we have to send the assessor out to value them. And also in the tax maps, there is a state statute that says that we have to update our tax maps annually, and we didn't do it this year. We didn't have the money, so I think with the reval coming up next year, it would be appropriate for us to get those tax maps up to date so that the reval company has a good, starting point. We've level funded the legal budget. And now the planning budget is showing a $20,000 increase. But what I'd like to point out is that when we found ourselves with a default budget in March, it was the planning board that came forward and voluntarily cut a number of items, including their contract services for doing studies and updates of their master plan. And so essentially what they're doing here is asking for that to be restored. And they'd like to move forward with developing the economic development chapter of the master plan. So that counts for the major increase in their operating budget. And then on the wages and benefits side, one of the employees had waived the stipend, the health stipend voluntarily, and so we've included that in there this year. Board of Adjustment
can you go back just for a second?
Yeah.
So of that increase, 20,000 was
20,000 was for the
Economic development.
contract services.
contract services. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The Board of Adjustment hasn't gotten back to me with any firm numbers, but if anything, their budget will be lower than last year. The town buildings budget is approximately, my proposal is 10,000 less than last year. You'll notice that is in contrast with the director's request. And perhaps this area needs a little more evaluation. As we look at the year-end numbers for heat and electricity, I think maybe we'll have a better sense of what those are gonna look like for 2010.
So that's just operating, that's not fixing?
There is a repairs line in there. In fact, that was one of the areas where Mike and I kind of disagreed, was on how much money should be set aside for repairs.
Okay.
And I guess what I was looking for was a concrete list of planned projects. And I think that's something that he and Randy are working on, and they may very well pull that together in the next couple of weeks
well, what I'd like to do is meet with all the department heads and the building issues and sit down and prioritize. That's the main goal.
Okay.
Have we realized any savings with your installation of the building?
No, I won't, not at the garage, not to go through a heating season.
Okay.
But according to
You're
Rich,
referring to the,
According to
what
Rich,
building
it's-
referring to?
To the highway building.
no, according to Rich, it's made a significant difference. He's in the garage all the time, so hopefully we'll see the end result.
I mean, there are gonna be some savings, but that's only due to Birch Church and the ward fund that generously is gonna put in, $40,000 into a new heating plant
26.
and painting. How much?
Oh, 26
Oh,
in the heating system.
New
Yeah.
heating
Well, that's the
system.
town meeting, meeting house.
Yeah.
Okay.
we've also done insulating at the meeting house that should show some heat savings as well.
Yeah, last year they added another, 18 inches or 2
Yeah.
feet
Yeah.
of blown-in insulation, so I would hope anticipate heat savings in that.
I have a spreadsheet on usage, the gallons per usage, so, but we've also diverted a lot of the functions there and put them down to the rec, so I suspect I'd have to look at the spreadsheet and look at the actual gallons used, which should be significantly less.
The ward funds would, you know, help you. with
Plus
that.
changing that furnace will make a huge difference also.
But there- Okay,
Okay, the cemeteries level funded. Now, the next item, the insurance, this is gonna need a little more, investigation as well. I know we've been waiting for, notices from Primex in regards to our unemployment comp rate, our workers' comp rate. We did get some estimates on the life and long-term and short-term disability with another company that might be a little cheaper, so we're gonna look at this a little further. The history budget, I will point out that the Historical Society has asked us in years past to cover the cost of their heating fuel. They store the town's collection of artifacts in that building, and it's become a real burden for them to maintain. And apparently, you know, with the default budget the past 2 years, we haven't really kept pace with the increased cost of heating. And John said that the number is closer to 6,500. I don't know if this is the year to try to play catch up. I left it at 4,100, so we can perhaps look at that a little further.
Well, where did they get the extra money that's been spent?
Well, they usually give us, an income statement, and a lot of it's from fundraising. So I would imagine fundraising and grants and donations.
No, I mean, it just says they've already spent $800 more than what was budgeted.
Oh, okay, well, actually, no, that's,
November spend is 4,900.
actually,
Oh,
what that is, there had been a second line item in this budget called History Committee.
Oh,
And that had been for archiving certain town artifacts and whatnot. And the selectmen had voted to cut that out of the budget back in March, April. But some of the work had already been done, and so that's how that ended up being over.
What kind of stuff, is that building maintained, open year round? I mean, do we absolutely need the heat in there?
Yeah.
you need
Or at
to
least
heat for
minimal level.
conservation. Yeah.
But above a certain level, $4,100 a year for heat. It's a whole lot more than what I go through with my house with oil, and admittedly mine's insulated, but we live in it 24/7. So
it's a pretty big building, if they heat the whole thing, I don't know.
Well, this is their whole operating, right,
It includes everything,
yeah, it's
Right.
not just,
and not just the heat, right?
Well, they only ask us to help them with the heat.
Okay.
So this
Ms.
is,
Martin?
I just had a question, does the town own that building? And if so, why wouldn't it have shown up on our energy inventory?
We don't own it.
yeah,
We don't.
the historical society does.
Okay.
Yeah, because they sold some to the school.
Right, it's a piece of land.
Yeah.
Okay. But maybe
Blackbird
it,
patch is killing me, is that still black? Check out.
I haven't been over there in so long, I don't know.
No, I
One of
don't
the
think.
best blackbird patches.
Yeah.
Yes,
but I was just gonna say, even if they don't, if we're somehow in a relationship with them, maybe we ought to look into doing an energy audit on that too, because, $4,100